He sat quietly on his wooden perch near the window, his feathers a brilliant tapestry of green, blue, yellow, and red. His name was Rio, and Rio was smart, incredibly smart. He knew every sound in the house, from the creak of the floorboards to the hum of the refrigerator, but one sound would change everything. It was the sound of a baby's first cry. When baby Adam came home, the entire house felt different. It was louder, yet somehow softer, more fragile. As the cry echoed through the room, Rio tilted his head, his dark eyes wide with curiosity. He didn't scream or flap his wings in alarm. He simply listened. That night, Rio didn't sleep. Perched high, he kept a silent vigil, his gaze fixed on the nursery door. Something new had entered his world, and he needed to understand it. In the days that followed, Rio's curiosity blossomed into something more. Whenever Adam cried, Rio would move closer, making soft, clicking sounds. They weren't loud or annoying, but strangely soothing. And each time the baby would calm down. At first, the parents found it amusing. "It's like he's talking to him," Adam's mother laughed. But Rio wasn't just talking. He was responding. He was communicating in a language only the two of them seemed to share. One afternoon, Adam was lying in his crib, restless and overtired. Rio fluttered from his perch and landed gently on the edge of the crib, moving with a slow, deliberate care that was surprising for a bird. The baby looked up, his fussing quieting as he saw the flash of color. A small smile touched his lips. Rio leaned forward almost conspiratorially and whispered softly, "Shh. Baby, shh." The parents froze in the doorway. They had never taught him those words. In that moment, the baby stopped crying and a profound silence filled the house. From that day on, Rio was no longer just a pet. He was a guardian. Weeks turned into months, and an invisible bond formed between the boy and the bird. Adam began to recognize Rio's voice before any human one. When Rio spoke, Adam would turn his head. When Rio whistled a little tune, Adam would laugh with delight. Rio stayed close always. He became an interpreter of needs, a translator between a baby's silence and a parent's concern. If the baby cried for too long, Rio would sound a loud, insistent alarm. He even learned to mimic the specific sounds Adam made when he was hungry or uncomfortable, alerting the parents with uncanny accuracy. Visitors were amazed. "That parrot understands him," they'd say, watching the two interact, and they were right. Then came the night that everything went wrong. Long past midnight, the house was still, too still. Suddenly, a piercing shriek shattered the silence. "Help, baby, help." The parents bolted upright in bed. It was Rio, screaming from the nursery. Again and again, the frantic words tore through the air. "Help, baby, help." They ran down the hall, their hearts pounding. When they burst into the room, they found Adam in his crib, barely breathing. His tiny chest was moving weakly, his face pale. The father scooped up the baby while the mother frantically called for emergency services. At the hospital, the doctors were direct. "If you had waited another few minutes," one of them said, his voice grave, "it might have been too late." The parents looked at each other, the terrifying reality of those words sinking in, and then they thought of Rio. He saved your child. Back home, Rio sat quietly on the curtain rod, his feathers slightly fluffed, his watchful eyes following their every move. After that night, Rio's cage was never closed again. The door stayed permanently open, a silent acknowledgement of his new role. He was free to go wherever he pleased, but he always chose to stay near Adam. As the baby grew, Rio adapted. He learned to speak more gently, never screaming or startling the little boy. He was a constant, colorful shadow. When Adam laughed, Rio would chuckle along with him. When Adam slept, Rio would maintain a peaceful silence, a feathered sentry on duty. When Adam learned to crawl, Rio moved to higher perches, keeping a safe distance but never letting him out of sight. And when Adam took his very first wobbly steps, Rio flew just above him, circling like a guardian angel, chirping words of encouragement. The vibrant bird became a part of every childhood milestone, not as a toy or a pet, but as family. Years passed. Adam was no longer a baby but a boisterous young boy. Yet to Rio, he would always be my baby, and Adam would always answer Rio. They were two voices, from two different species, speaking the same language of love and loyalty. Sunlight streams through the living room window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Adam, now a boy, is napping peacefully on the couch. And nearby, perched on the back of a chair, sits Rio, His feathers glow softly in the warm light. He is watching, he is listening, he is home. Love doesn't always look the same. Sometimes it has wings. Sometimes it speaks in colors.